Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Fer, and in this video I'm going to show you how to contribute to the next edition of the Phyrexian dictionary. And warning, this video is going to get fairly technical, so it's not going to be, the purpose of this video is not to be entertaining. So just watch it if you are really interested about this project. So anyway, this project is going to be a website, phyrexiandictionary.com. But if you go to this website right now, you are not going to see anything because we haven't done anything. But just close your eyes and let me show you my vision for this project. What I envision is that in this website, you would have like a search bar. And below that search bar, you would have all the symbols of the Phyrexian writing system. If you type anything on this search bar, then like in English, then you are shown a list of all the Phyrexian words that translate to something related. For example, let's say that you type mana, and then you hit enter, you would be shown a list of all the Phyrexian words that translate to something related to mana. And then if you click on any of those words, you would see, well, its dictionary entry, how it is pronounced, what it means, any notes about the translation, all the examples where it's used. Then you can click on the examples, and if it's like a card with text in Phyrexian, then you would be able to click on each of the individual words and go to the dictionary entries of those words. But then you would also be able to, for example, you go to the beginning and instead of typing in the search bar, you can click on the symbols of the Phyrexian writing system and they would appear on the search bar. And then you can hit enter and then you would be shown all the Phyrexian words whose writing matches what you just typed. And also you would be able to select Phyrexian text, copy and paste it, and if you have the right thing in your computer, you would even be able to copy it into a document in your computer. This is doable. It would be difficult, but it would be doable. And so yeah, and even if we have spoken examples of these words, you would be able to hear the spoken examples. So I hope you agree that that would be something really cool. You can open your eyes now in case you really did close them. Very well on you for following instructions, but you can open them now. So that's my vision for this website. Oh, also, you are going to be credited for your contributions to this project. Sorry if this breaks the flow of the video, I recorded this later, but I think it's important to know that, yeah, everyone who helps is going to be credited in the end. Since we can see who committed stuff to the GitHub, we can use that to create a sort of credits page to just properly recognize everyone who helped. I think that would be something really cool. That's something that would motivate me, and I hope it will motivate you. And if you want to remain anonymous for whatever reason, that's also perfectly respectable and perfectly doable, and you would remain anonymous if you want to. So anyway, that's it. Let's go back to the rest of the video. To do this, we need basically to do 3 steps. Step 1 is to make an API. Step 2, make the code that uses the API to render the website. And step 3, host the website on a server. And I'm going to explain those steps in more detail, but I also am going to assume you already know some of this. Let's start with the API. Well, the API, in case you didn't know, is just like a database that websites use to render what they are. So for example, here in YouTube, when I search for the word what is GitHub, the code searches in a database. It looks for videos that match somehow these keywords and then it uses that information to construct this page for me. So that's how it works. So for that reason, the programmers don't have to make each possible page individually, right? You just need to have the information and a rule to transform that information into a website. Hopefully you already knew this because you are somewhat familiar with web design and coding, stuff like that. But anyway, so how are we going to make this database? These databases are called APIs. So how are we going to make this Phyrexian API? Well, I think we should make it using JSON. So here I have my start of how the Phyrexian API would work. So if you're not familiar with JSON, obviously I'm not gonna make this a JSON tutorial. You can just find those here in YouTube. This one is a pretty good one, I think. This is the one I watched years ago when I was learning JSON. So yeah, any of these is good, I think. Actually, the ones from Socratica are also really good. but this is not exactly about JSON. It's tangential to JSON. Anyway, Socratica is a good channel. So we're going to be using JSON to make this database. And here you can see some of the examples I have. And I think I should show you an example of how I would add an entry to this JSON to show you how I think this would work. So let's say that, well, you go to my GitHub. Oh, also, in case you are not familiar with GitHub, you should watch not any tutorial, this tutorial specifically, GitHub for Dummies. Look at this guy. This guy has never slept in his entire life. And for some reason, that makes me trust him. Anyway, I watch many GitHub tutorials. None of them work for me. This one worked for me. I recommend you watch this specific video by Nick White. So let's say that you watch, you know how to use JSON, you know the basics of GitHub. Then you go to my GitHub here. This is for the Phyrexian dictionary. And then you would see here right now the Phyrexian API. Hopefully we will be adding more stuff to this project as we go along. But right now it's just the API. You download it using GitHub. And then, I recommend that you edit it using Sublime Text. Sublime Text is, I think, really good. I mean, if you're going to be using some specific coding language, like if you, for example, for when we are turning this into an actual website, we should be using WebStorm, I think. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, so use Sublime Text. You select a JSON here. Select JSON. Here is one of the options. You select it and you start writing. Anyway, so let's say that you already have this and you want to contribute to the Phyrexian dictionary. What do you do? Well, you would have to do Control-4 and look for a word that has not been added. Let's say that you want to add Elishnorn, and you find no, it already has an entry. So you say, okay, well, I'm going to be adding Elishnorn that has already been taken care of. Maybe what about mana? Mana is nowhere in this document. Excellent. So you want to add the word mana. And in fact, you could use as a tool this other dictionary that was implemented here in the MTG wiki. This is actually really good. I don't know if they made it from scratch or if they used the Phyrexian dictionary that we have made. I don't know. Regardless, it is a good implementation. It has some of the things I want or our dictionary to do. Like it has the text in Phyrexian, it has the list of examples. If you click on the example, it takes you to the scribe file of that thing, to the scribe file page for that card. But as you can see, this is not like, it doesn't have like a dictionary entry. It doesn't have the pronunciation, doesn't have the meaning, doesn't have like the root, links to related words. So there are a lot of features that this dictionary doesn't have, which is why I think our dictionary is necessary. Or at least would be cool. Also the search engine would be huge in terms of implementation. But anyway, so let's say that you want to add the word mana. Again, Control-4, you look for mana. Color of mana. Okay, so here is mana. And then, well, you can see how it is written here. Well, let me show you how this would work. I go here anywhere in the JSON. Doesn't matter. The order is irrelevant. That's something cool about JSON. The order doesn't really matter. And then you can copy a previous entry because all of the entries have the same information. So in this copy, I'm just gonna replace the information that I copied, and I'm gonna replace the one for the entry I'm doing. So in this case, I'm gonna delete J's and I'm gonna add mana. Okay. Phyrexian. Okay, so this is where we are gonna encode the Phyrexian text. Right now, as you can see, there are ways to implement Phyrexian text in computer. So we are gonna have to implement these kinds of things, but I don't know how. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using a placeholder, but I'm using, we need to have like what's the word I'm looking for a template for the placeholders, so that when it comes time to replace them, we can replace them really easily. So for example, the template for the placeholder is just mana, well, just the word, and then phi, capital H, capital P, H, Y, mana phi. And then this represents, this is just the placeholder for the Phyrexian text when we find a way to encode it here in the JSON. Anyway, next we continue with the pronunciation. It's just IPA. So we look here. Well, I already know how to read Phyrexian. You would need to practice some of this. If you are not familiar with this, this is an M, A, glottal stop N. And let's say if it was just MAN, I could just go and write man, but that's not it. So I need to go here. This is type IPA, ipa.typeit.org. And you can select here many languages, but they don't have an option for Phyrexian. So just go to full IPA. And I'm gonna select MA, and then the special character I need is the glottal stop. The glottal stop should be, where is it? I always, okay, I'm pretty sure, okay, so here. Ma'an, something like that, ma'an. So then I copy it, and thankfully, I think all of the APA symbols are compatible with Unicode, and thus they should be compatible with JSON. We might find some trouble here in the future, but should be manageable. Anyway, for now, I think that this, like the symbol for the glottal stop, schwa, stuff like that works. Anyway, so APA ma'an, this is the pronunciation. The translation is mana. Root. Okay, here, this is the root for this word is actually, we need to add two things. We need to add the Phyrexian text for the root, mana root phi. This is just placeholder, but as you can see, I'm following the same template. Just the word, then the word root, then phi for Phyrexian, and then I'm gonna add another element in this list, and that's just gonna be basically just the consonants, right, for the root. M glottal stop N. Okay, so that's it. And if this was a compound word, or if it was a foreign word, or like if this just didn't, if the concept of a Phyrexian root just didn't apply to this for some reason, just put false. Like for example, Jace is obviously not a Phyrexian root, so just put false. Anyway, examples. Okay, so we need some examples of the word mana. Here in the MTG wiki, they have some examples, but I'm pretty sure the word mana is used in many more places than just Braska, the Trail Sting. I think it's used in Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, for example. So it's used in more places. But okay, so I'm just gonna add one of them here. Actually, well, Braska, the Trail Sting, and you know what? I'm gonna add the other one because I know that it also exists. Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. So there might be more examples. So we need, I mean, and here's the thing, you don't need to add all the examples, or really any examples. Some other people can come later and say like, oh, this person forgot about, or maybe in the future we have more instances, right? We have more examples, we update it to show that, well, now we have more examples. But anyway, so as long as you, it's like, as a blanket statement for this project, it's fine to not add some form of information, as long as you are not adding false information, right? So it's like if you don't know the examples, you can leave this as a template, just list of examples. That's fine, so that would be fine. If you don't know, just don't put anything. And if you do know, well, you can put it. Anyway, so, and then class. Well, this is a noun. This is not a proper name, this is a noun. But it could also be a suffix, a prefix, an adjective, a verb, or it could be several things. Maybe it's sometimes a noun and sometimes it's a verb or stuff like that. Or for example, maybe it's a tense marker, stuff like that. So this is also a list for all the things it could be. Native, oh, this is a native word, so this is true. The reason I added this for native is because there are words like, for example, Jace, or like Nahiri, or like Tamillo, but mostly for these Mirodin. Mostly these are names, foreign names, that are adapted into Phyrexian in some way, and I feel like we should keep track of that. So that's why, or maybe in the future we see the Phyrexians adopting more words from the planes they are conquering, right? And so it would be useful to know which words are native to Phyrexian and which ones are adopted from foreign languages. Anyway, then notes. I don't have any notes, but if I had any more information I wanted to add about this word, it would go here. So that's it. I added a new entry into the dictionary, and that's it. We just have to repeat this process for every word in this website, and in fact every word ever written in Phyrexian. So it's gonna take a while, but we can get there. We can get there. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how this project is gonna work. Oh, of course. Last step. You have to, once you have added some entries to the dictionary, you have to commit your changes. So then, well, you use GitHub. You go to your terminal, or you do it on the website, however it feels more, however is easier to you. But you commit your changes into a new branch, and then once they are in a new branch, me or hopefully other people would be able to look at them, and eventually we can commit those changes to the main branch or to some other branches, and then all the contributions you made to the dictionary would be merged with the contributions of other people, and then eventually we will have a complete API. Or actually, we don't need to complete the API. We don't need to have all the words. We just need to have enough words so that we can start implementing the actual website. But that's going to be step 2. I think we should do it using what is this one? React. I think we should do it using React. For the only reason that it's the one I know. That's the one I know about web design. But I'm open to, I mean, if someone has a really good argument why we should use some other language to write the website, please do let me know. But if not, we're gonna do it in React. And if someone wants to get started on this and add a branch of this where they start doing something in React or some other language to start rendering the API, feel free to do that. It would be really cool. And so yeah, that's pretty much how you can contribute to the next edition of the Phyrexian dictionary. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Maybe in the future I will make some updates about how this project develops. So anyway, thanks for watching and goodbye.